Hello everybody, we are back here on the Hunter Call the Wild, and as you can probably tell, my voice is finally starting to get better. I was actually able to live stream for a decent amount of time today, and now I decided we would do a bit of a whitetail guide. So real quickly, just want to get this out of the way. Because of the way the whitetail currently are, I cannot guarantee that this guide will work in a month or 2 months from now. So it is November 25th of 2020 as of recording this. So I can't promise that this guide will work in the future because they do change the zones of animals quite often, but as of now, this should be working for pretty much everybody out there. Another thing that I really wanted to talk about before we get into it is that not everybody has the same zones. Everybody's map is a little bit different, which means just because I have these zones doesn't mean that you will. Along with just because you have some zones doesn't mean that somebody else will. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. But anyway, real quickly before we take out these bucks, let's go ahead and go over the maps. So I have put together two little maps for you guys. The first one shows off every single location I have found in the past week while grinding for the Great One. And the second map that I'm going to show up here in a second is actually kind of an updated map on which zones I have lost, which ones stopped spawning in bucks, which ones I've accidentally deleted, stuff like that. So everything in the blue is a zone that either only spawns does or completely stopped spawning bucks, and the ones with the yellow X over them are the zones that I've deleted by accident. So that's kind of what I'm working with as of now, but that just kind of goes to show that over time when you hunt the zones, you will have some that disappear, you will have some that you accidentally delete, ones that stop spawning bucks, so that's another thing for you guys to keep in mind. But now that we've gone over that, I will have the map in my Discord, so if you guys are not in there, the link is in the description. Consider joining. We have over 700 members in it as of now, and it is an awesome community. So now that we've got past that part, I'm going to do a full run here on Layton Lake, kind of show you all of my zones, and we're starting off with this one right here. This is one that I actually just recently found. It's over here next to the Willowpig Southern Outpost, and this is a brand new zone that I've never hunted, and somebody in Kill Clinton's chat actually mentioned that there was whitetail here, so I went to check it out, and sure enough, we have whitetail, so let's go ahead and we actually have quite a few here, but most of them are in the trees as of now. But I believe I counted 6 bucks. So yeah, we got those 2 down, and here is another 2. Should be good. Now, one thing that's super important about being quick when it comes to grinding for whitetail deer is it really is helpful to have a tent and a tripod at every single one of your zones if possible. And also use your ATVs whenever you can. I've talked about this many times. I don't see a lot of people use their ATVs to the fullest potential, and it really is a huge help in getting to zones quickly. I'm not using it here just because the lodge is a little bit further away than normal, so it's quicker to just run up to them. But normally I would jump on the ATV to go pick up my kills because it is a lot quicker. Anyway, let's go ahead and grab these guys. There is one of them. We got another one over here, and then there should be 2 more that were running away. But here is number 2. Here is this little guy that we got on the run. We actually got a perfect double lung on him. And this last one I didn't hit very good, so we're actually going to leave that guy. It's also good to not really bother with any of the ones that you wound, because there's a high chance that they either won't die or won't die very fast, which makes it so it's not really worth going for. You end up wasting quite a bit of time. But this next spot that we're going to is actually one that I just recently found. I've only been here once, and I only saw 2 does, so there's not really anything to kill here, but I figured I'd show you guys at least where to look for them. So you spawn in at the tent up here, or if you don't have a tent, you will have to run quite a ways, but I've found the whitetail drinking on this shoreline right here. It seems to be the only place they drink is right along here. As you can see, I spotted one right there. But we're not really going to focus on that too much because there was not really anything to hunt there. So next up, we will come down here to this tent. This is usually a pretty good zone. Now, as of now, I do not see these guys at their zone yet, and this is something that will happen from time to time. There will be times where you arrive before they arrive there, and it's because the whitetail for some reason take an absurdly long time to get to their zones sometimes, so if they don't arrive at those zones, you might want to restart your game, and usually that will fix it, which that brings me to another thing. A lot of people ask me how many times they need to reset their time to get their respawns, and from what I've seen, it seems that it's not really about the time, it's more about the amount of kills you get and then resetting your time once. So what I've noticed is anytime that I kill 15 or more whitetail deer, take that number as kind of just like a little guideline. It could be 15, it could be 20, but if you kill around 15 to 20 bucks, just reset your time once and then restart your game, and that should give you all of your respawns. You can even restart it, then reset the time after. Either one of those should work, but that's what I've been doing to get my respawns, and it's been working really good. I haven't really had to take too many breaks in between kills. I've just killed a few bucks at every zone, restarted my game, reset the time, and then I've got all my respawns. So just figured I'd add that in there since I get asked that question so much. But now that we've finished with that zone, we're on to our next one, which this is another one down in Belmont. This zone is actually right here. And as you guys can see, I have tents and tripods at pretty much everything. And in fact, I don't have my bucks here at the moment either. It's probably because I didn't restart my game before doing this guide. So I think what we're going to do is we'll actually go ahead and restart and see if we can get our bucks to come back, because as I was just saying, I did forget to do that before I started recording. So I'll catch you guys in a couple minutes once we get that done. And just like that, after a quick restarting of the game, we now have our deer back, except yeah, they're spooked off as far as I can tell because of the way I ran over here. So that's a little unfortunate, but we did get our bucks back from doing that, and that just kind of shows you guys that it does work. But anyway, let's move on to the next location now, which is this one right here, also in Belmont. Now for this one, they're usually kind of at the outskirts of these trees from what I've seen. Although depending on the map, some people might have them drinking in slightly different areas, but this has always been a pretty decent spot for me. Not necessarily with quantity of bucks, but I usually have a couple decent sized ones here. One thing that you guys will know is that Belmont has a lot of deer as of now. From what I've seen, Belmont seems to be the most heavily populated area for whitetail deer. I'm not sure why, it never used to be, but nowadays that's where I find a lot of them. So let's go ahead and take this guy out. Usually I have a second buck, so let's keep an eye out for him. Doesn't look like we've got that respawn yet, so we'll just go pick up the single one that we took out. And here is this little buck right here, 187. So next we're going to head to this zone right here, which this one actually has, I believe, 4 different spots that I have found whitetail, which is pretty insane. It's probably the most, I guess, concentrated area of whitetail deer. As you can see, we have whitetail drinking on the opposite bank over here. And then you also have whitetail deer that are here, you have some here, and you have some here. So there's a very vast majority of this area that is covered in whitetail, and it's really, really nice. You're able to take out quite a few bucks when you get to this area, provided you have all of the zones on your map. Because as I was saying, and as I've said a million times, everybody's map is a little bit different. I want to keep reiterating that just so you guys know that not everybody's map will have all these zones. Because that is something that I feel like a lot of people overlook sometimes, and then they start wondering why their map doesn't have the same zones. And it is because everybody's map is a little bit different in Call of the Wild. And unfortunately, most of the time, the deer are drinking clear in the brush at this zone, so a lot of times you won't see them. Same with the one over here. Most of the time the deer are kind of here, but occasionally you'll get them drinking out in this spot, and that's usually when I'm able to take them out. But the ones right here are also usually pretty far up in the trees, so I don't get to see them too often either. But these ones over here are almost always out in the open, so I usually try to take out at least a couple. And that should be good on the first one, but not the second one. Well, let's hope that hit. I really don't think it did, but I mean, we can hope. And here is this little guy right here, 214 on that one, and we definitely didn't hit the other two vitally. In fact, it looks like neither of them have died, so we're just going to move on to the next zone, which is actually going to be over here on the bottom left, near the Runaki area. Now, as far as this lake goes, they usually drink right over here. I have had them at this spot and this spot before, but for some reason this zone does not spawn anything anymore, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. It used to have deer, but now when I look over there, there's just absolutely nothing. But the ones that are over here are usually in the trees, as with a lot of the other zones that we've showed, so that is the one unfortunate thing about whitetail deer, is quite a few of them drink in the trees, which is definitely not ideal, but a simple collar will help you out with that. Let's go ahead and take this guy out. And this one. And see if we can get another. I don't know if there's any more, but always good to look. But I think we got them both, possibly. And here is both of those, a 218 level 2. And the other one is a 174 scoring level 2. So the next location that we're going to head to is right here. This is a lake that I don't really see too many people go to, and it's actually a really good lake. I've seen quite a few decent whitetail here. I actually got a piebald here about 3 or 4 weeks ago, so definitely a spot worth checking out. They usually drink over on this right side, right where the hunting pressure is. Now, I recently was at this location, so I don't think I'm going to have my bucks respawned, but just figured I'd real quickly show off where they are. At least I usually have them right here. They can also spawn directly across, and sometimes you'll get them over here. As you can see, I have a solo doe there, and unfortunately, that's the only thing I've been able to get to spawn here. I haven't had anything else on that side, but I get plenty of bucks on this side, so definitely worth checking out. Now, next up, we're actually going to go to the Caliburn area, because we have a zone up at this lake and one down on the river, so we'll go check both of those out next. And as you guys can see, a lot of whitetail deer right on the opposite shore from where we are. Sometimes you will get them drinking kind of like right here, but most of the time I do have them right where they currently are, so let's go ahead and take a few of those. And I don't know if we got the third one. I think it ran right as we shot. Yeah, it definitely did. And here is our whitetail deer. This guy is a 220, so a pretty decent looking buck. Barely in that 85 to 100 range, but still it's in that range, and that's really all you're hoping for. And that guy is a 192, so a much smaller one. Next location we're going to head down to is right here. As you guys can see, it's got a moose zone over top of it, but that is where our whitetail are. You guys might recognize this location from one of the previous videos, and that is because we got our piebald whitetail deer here, or at least one of them. So this one has produced something decent for us on this grind, and it's definitely a spot worth checking. And that is 2 more bucks down. And here are these two guys right here. Both of them were pretty small, so not going to spend too much time on them. Now, next up we're going to go, well, we would normally be going up to here, but because I accidentally deleted this zone during one of the live streams, I'll kind of just show you guys where they are. So this lake, I normally get them drinking right here or right here along this side. It really depends on the person's map. They can also be on this side, so just check all of the shore in this area and make sure you're looking in the trees, because they typically do go in the trees also. But next up, let's go ahead and go to this lake next to Norden. This is actually a pretty good one, to be completely honest. It's one of the better ones that I've got, but we're going to get to the really, really good lake towards the end of this video, because I have one lake that has always been incredibly good for me, and very commonly has 6 to 8 bucks at it, which is phenomenal, so I cannot wait to get to that one. Alright, so we have 2 bucks here as of now. I've had up to 3 or 4 at this location. They drink right here, as you guys can see. We are on this side of the lake. The zone is right there. So let's go ahead and try to take these 2 out. Looks like we only have 2 as of now, so try to get a shot in there. And of course it would move right as I go to shoot, but we ended up getting it anyway, so nice. Here is both of our bucks. Looks like they both went down on the spot, and yeah, this first shot was not exactly where I wanted it to hit, because he did move a little bit, but the second one took him down. And this buck right here was the better of the 2 at a 177. so not too bad of a buck, but obviously not a monster. The next zone that we're going to go to is actually at the Northern Outpost. You just go down to this lake right here, and the whitetail deer drink on the opposite bank. Once we get down there, I will show you guys the couple spots that I have found them in the past. So we are getting very close to the end of whitetail drinking time, so I won't be killing anything at this zone because there is one more zone that I'd like to get to before I need to reset the time again. So I'll just real quickly go over where I've found them now. This is the zone for them. As you guys can see, it is right here. But I have also found them drinking in like a variety of places along here. They drink over here. I've had them, as you can see right there. Sometimes they're over here. It seems pretty random just across this entire bank. So a little unfortunate because a lot of times they end up being back in the trees and really hard to see. And yeah, there's one right there that we can't even see because it is behind the trees. You can also get them down on this bank occasionally. That's a completely different zone though. But next up, let's go ahead and look at what is probably my favorite whitetail zone as of now, and that is right here at the Chila Southern Outpost. This is a really good spot for whitetail. It's got two zones that, for me, have quite a few bucks. I believe we have two separate zones that have 4 bucks each, which is huge when trying to grind for the great one, or even just trying to grind for a rare or a diamond whitetail. Having a ton of them to shoot in a small area is absolutely huge in progressing towards that goal. Now, what I usually do for this zone, since if I shoot at one, the rest are gonna spook. So what I usually do is I will come down to this stand and try to call in the herd that is over on this side, because if you can call them in a little bit closer to where you can actually see them, you're able to shoot a couple of them and it won't spook the ones over here. So that's something I usually try to do, but unfortunately it doesn't always work. As you guys probably know, callers aren't 100% effective, so you won't always get them to show up. And sometimes I've noticed that the deer over here drink kind of like over this hill, which is definitely not ideal. But anyway, since we're kind of crunched on time and I'm trying to get a few bucks from this zone before we run out of drink time, let's go ahead and get to our stand and take a few out. I did recently go to this spot right before I started the video, so there is a chance that we won't have all of our respawns. In fact, I think that buck might be the only one here as of now, but typically I have anywhere from 4 to 8 bucks, which is such a massive help, as I was saying. But we're gonna call a little bit, try to get them to come out, and actually we do have a second buck right there, and that's a good one. So I'm glad I hit the caller, because now we got that one coming out also. You can even sometimes have whitetail over on this bank drinking, but it's kind of rare. I've seen them mainly right where we're looking now. So let's go ahead and try to take out... Ooh, we actually have a third one right there. And yeah, those are some decent bucks. Let's try to get these two down. And let's see if we can get the third one. Yeah, this guy's zigzagging a bit too much. I don't think I'm going to be able to, but it was worth a shot of trying to get him down. In fact, if he keeps doing this, we might actually be able to get a shot in him. And there we go. We got him down. So that is 3 bucks down. Let's go ahead and go grab them. And here is our bucks. This one is a 228. That is a pretty good looking whitetail. 89 kilos too. And this one right here scores 216. Another very decent, very solid buck. I'm really happy we had 2 good ones here. This zone has always been really nice for me ever since I found a second zone here. It's just been very, very solid for good sized bucks. So I'm really hoping one of these days we'll have a big rare spawn here. We had that one piebald the other day spawn here, but I haven't been able to get any rares or diamonds here since, so hopefully we will get something in the near future that'll be a really good sized rare. Because I feel like if any zones are going to produce a good rare for us, it's either going to be this one or the one on the river. These two seem to be really, really good. And now that I've found this zone right here, I think this also could be one that will deliver in the future. But anyway, since we are past the drink time pretty much, I'm just going to real quickly go over the rest of the zones here, because this video is becoming a little bit long and I don't want to make it too much longer. So let's start at the bottom. This zone right here is one that I used to have them at. You guys probably saw the double diamond or double level 3 whitetail deer that I got here. They normally drink on this bank right here. So that's where you should find them. I have seen them at other places, but that's the primary spot. Next up, we got this little lake right here, and I have a zone right here, along with right here. So these two I don't hunt very often just because it takes forever to get out there, and I only have one tent, and I don't really want to place it on one side or the other because then it makes it hard to get to the other one. So I haven't really hunted those a ton, but they are an option if you are interested in going there. And now we've got this zone down here at the bottom. Now, I don't know what's going on with the zones down here, but they're so inconsistent for me. So these ones I don't always bother hunting either. I've had them here, I've had them here, I've had them here, and currently they're right here. As far as I can tell, it's the same herd, but they keep switching, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Haven't really bothered with them too much because of that reason. Now we have the zone that is across from this lodge. I don't typically hunt this one too often either, just because it's like 700 meters to run there, which takes a little bit of time also, so I really don't focus on that one that much. Next up, we have this zone right here. Same thing here. It's pretty far away from any of the lodges, and I don't have enough tents. I've already used all 16 of my slots for tents for this reserve, so I don't go to this one very commonly either, but it is there if you're interested in checking it out. This is another one, along with the previous one down here, where they're commonly in the trees, so it does make it difficult, but they're there if you guys are interested in going after them. I have also seen whitetail drinking around this lake, but I'm not including it in the map just because I haven't been able to confirm if they still do. I used to see them here, but not sure if they still spawn there, so take that one with a grain of salt. And I think that's pretty much everything. I think we went over every single location that I have on my map, which last I checked, I believe it totals 23 zones, which is not too bad. I'm honestly very happy that I've been able to find that many with how difficult whitetail have been to find in the past couple months. It's nice to know that they do still exist, and they're just in different locations than they used to be. So as of recording this, I have killed around, I believe, 430 whitetail deer during my grind for the Great One, and as of now we have 2 piebalds and 2 level 3s to show for it, so I'd say we're doing pretty good honestly, but we haven't had any super massive rares, so that is the one sad thing. But to give you guys an idea, I guess, on the rates at which they spawn, I've killed around 430 bucks and have 2 rares and 2 level 3s, and only one of those level 3s was a diamond, so don't feel too bad if you've killed a couple hundred and haven't really got anything good. It's one of those things that happens. It's been probably 200 whitetail since my last good thing. I got all 4 of those within the first, I'd say, 250 kills, so we've had kind of a dry streak after that, but lots of 260s and low 270s bucks along the way. So yeah, if you guys have anything else to add to this guide, leave it down in the comments below and maybe I will pin your comment. But I really hope you guys enjoyed. I really hope this will help you guys out in finding your whitetail deer. I don't know what it's going to be like on console because I do play on PC, and as far as I know, I think that it should be the same on both console and PC, but I can't confirm that because I've never played on console, but it should be the same regardless of platform. Anyway guys, if you are new to the channel, consider subscribing. I do post a video every single day along with 5 live streams a week, and if you guys haven't already, be sure to like the video. It helps out an absolute ton. It pushes my videos out into YouTube's recommended feed, which is a massive help. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace!